Hey everybody, welcome to this episode of Think Business Live. I'm looking forward to talking with Amarpreet Kalkat, founder of Humantic AI. Amarpreet, it's great to connect with you. I love talking about people, sales, and AI. So this will be a fun conversation. You are buyer intel agents, and so for you, your company, you're really kind of giving people a personalized way to get insights on the buyers that will come to buy their products. And so what I love about this and where I want to get started is, today the average person has an attention span less than a goldfish, less than 7 seconds. Today, we're in the attention business. Today, we need to capture people with our messaging very quickly and very concisely, or we lose them. And so let's kind of get to the fundamentals of talking about a buyer's intel agent, but let's talk about the buyer profile today. Tell me your thoughts on what that looks like today. And welcome to the
Jon,
show. Thanks for being here. Yeah.
Absolutely.
I love
talking
to people all over the world. I know you're in India right now. It's a little bit late, so thanks so much.
No, not at all. So it's a pleasure, to be here today. And, let me share my thoughts. Love to hear your take. I think, we are learning today. The world is evolving so fast, right? At this point of time, it's just crazy what AI is doing every day and all the updates, all the news that keeps coming. Now, something you said already, and that's what we believe in. That's what we keep telling our customers, our prospects. If you ask me, Amarpreet, what is the defining reality, right, of a buyer today, like when it comes to sales and selling? I would say it is information overload, right? Which is pretty much the other side of the same coin. When you said attention deficit, that arises out of the fact that there's just way too much coming at us from all directions, right?
Yeah.
It's just crazy. It is so for us as consumers, as normal, consumers, but it is also true for us as professional leaders, right? As when we act as buyers, coming back to the sales context, that's where we do most of our work. Yeah. And when I am talking to sales leaders and I say, hey, look, do you agree? They're like, yeah. I'm like, do you respond to any cold email? They're like, no. Do you pick up your phone ever? No. I said, then how do you expect your prospects to pick up your seller's call, right? And then people start thinking. And if the defining reality is that the buyers just spam to death, then why the hell are we not solving for buyers' experience, right? Why are we not focusing there is the question that we try to highlight. Why are we still focused on sending more emails and doing AI SDR and more automation when the bottleneck is that the buyer is saying, please, forgive me, stop with everything that you're doing.
Yeah.
So that's really the context. That's where we come in, and that's where I think the market seems to be resonating in terms of what we've seen. People agree saying yes, and they're like, can you help us solve? And when we say buyer intelligence, right, the insights we provide, what we bring to the table, the core aim of that is simply know your buyers better, understand what matters to them, talk their language, give them what they need rather than what you need. And the impact of that is it's significant. It's eye-popping often enough is what we have seen so far.
Yeah. So let's talk about that. Why don't people take time to know their buyers better? Let's talk about that, because I think sometimes people think they know their buyers so well, but in today's world, I think that's almost like a weekly, monthly thing that you need to be looking at. I think that's how quickly things are changing. I mean, I never thought even 6 months ago that I would be buying things off the TikTok shop. I did not think that a year ago that I would be buying a majority of my stuff from Instagram influencers who are health influencers and not Amazon. So, it's the buying patterns are changing. the way people sell through influencers are changing. I was listening to, I love Howard Stern. I was listening to Howard Stern on the way to work yesterday, and he was saying, like, I'm not what I used to be because there's less shock value. It used to be that when you were younger, if they said, hey, if you said, hey, I want to be on the radio, people would be like, that's impossible. But today everybody can be on the radio. Right now we're on the radio.
Right.
And so how often, one, why are people not tuning into this, that buyer behaviors are changing weekly, if not daily? And two, once they have that level of awareness, what should they be doing? How should they be thinking? Of course, reaching out to services like you that can create a space for them to think differently and guide them appropriately. But for those that don't or aren't ready yet, what should they be doing?
So first of all, I think your first question, why are people not stepping up, right, doing what they should be doing? I would say two reasons. One is we are all slaves of habit, right? And that's the reason why less than, I think, 10% of the people become early adopters. You could be one of those early adopters, but guess what? 9 out of 10 people are not like you. So people just keep doing what they've been doing till you almost force them to change, right, in some ways, or there is a really, really attractive incentive. So that's one reason, that even when we know something that is better, I mean, why do people not exercise, right? We all know the benefits of exercise, but people still don't, right? Because there
Right.
is a little bit extra work involved there. And we just keep getting, um, January 1st, everyone is hitting the gyms. By January 30th, half those people are gone. By March 31st, 70% of the people who hit the gyms are gone. So that's one part. It is just innate human nature that we slowly warm up to changes, right? We don't react to changes very well, very quickly, at least. Number two, what we do wasn't even possible a dozen years ago. That technology did not exist. Traffic is pretty much bad everywhere, definitely very bad in Bangalore, India, I can tell you that, but probably the worst, or one of the worst in the world, if not the worst, right? And it's bad everywhere. I mean, I'm in Bay Area on, US 101, and US 101 is not really a piece of cake either.
Yeah.
But are people thinking flying machines right now? Not really, not many people. So when we don't know that something is possible, we don't even think in those terms. So, for example, what we do, technology wasn't possible a dozen years ago. It has started going mainstream around, or started becoming practically useful around 5 years ago. Started going mainstream, I would say, like 24 was a breakout year from our perspective. So that's the second reason. When people don't know that something is possible, they don't really look. It takes a little bit of time. So I would say those are the two reasons why people don't do what they can do. And hopefully, shows like yours, a chance for someone like me to talk about it, give some people some ideas and say, yeah, this guy might be talking some sense, let me give it a try.
Yeah. I think it's great. How quickly do people hear a message? What words, what impacts a buyer to take action?
So that's where it starts becoming interesting. I don't know, any chance you're familiar with something called disc profile, disc personality profiling,
Yes, of
etc.?
course. I've taken the disc multiple. I've taken, it's interesting. I took the disc twice, 20 years apart. And I got the same response. I got the same thing. Yeah.
It has high repeatability. Like disc has high repeatability generally. And so that's where it gets interesting. How do you make people listen to what you have to say? You have to see, there's a saying, right? And I'm sure you're familiar, that people buy emotionally and justify rationally. Right? And that is true almost everywhere. So you have to talk to people in the language that matters to them. Like you have to find the right words. That's why some of these leaders, politicians, they're so good. They know what are the right words that will trigger certain people to take certain kind of action. And that is what we try to bring to the table. Our core is a personality prediction AI. We can
Yeah.
predict anyone's disc and personality purely from their LinkedIn profile or the data out there. And now, as a seller, I can sell to you the way using the words, right, in an email, on a call, in a meeting, that you will be excited about, that you'll say, hell yes, this sounds like the right thing for me. So that is indeed what we try to solve. Find the right words that will trigger not just a logical but even an emotional response in someone and make them say hell yes.
Hmm. I love it. I love it. Let me ask you a question. When it comes to um, you know, people thinking that they can do this on their own versus how you speed along the process. I think there's a lot of do-it-yourselfers here, who think, "Hey, I can do it myself. I know my client. Hey, I can use Chat GPT." Versus
Right.
you. Why would somebody
Yeah.
use you? And I say that, in this scenario, but it's the same thing in my business. Well, hey, I know my business. I can use Chat GPT as and ask it questions. In my world as a business coach, I'm
Yeah.
listening and hearing things that they're missing, and one little shift makes a huge impact. So I'd like to know, from your perspective in your world.
So I'll break down your question into, first, why not do it themselves, and second, why not use Chat GPT, right? Let's take it in those parts. The first one, right? Why not yourself? See, the analogy I give people is saying, look, Vikings sailed, from the Nordics and reached England. So can you get on a wooden ship and, make a successful voyage? Yes, you can. But how many Viking ships would really reach England, right? So what if you could take a flight right today from, Norway or Denmark to England? So if you can do something scientifically, why would you want to do it unscientifically is the
Mhm.
question,
I like that.
right? So
Yeah.
yes, that's very simple thing. Yes, some people could be good. Most of us think we are good, but most of us are not really good at this stuff. So, and when science is available, like, why the hell would I not use science is, to me, a no-brainer. Second part would be, like, why not use Chat GPT? I would say for the same reason. We use pliers, to pull out a nail instead of using a hammer, right, with a wedge in it. I mean, Chat GPT is a generic technology. It is not built for a specific use case, like what words are the right words, that will make John say, Amarpreet, fantastic, man. You're a good guy to talk to. You're a good
Yeah.
guy to do business with. So yes, we can do things, sometimes with generic tools, but when we want to get it right, right, and sales is the business of getting it right. Anyway, the win rates are too low. I don't want to use a generic tool. Like, I want to use a screwdriver where I need a screwdriver. I want to use pliers where I should use pliers. I don't want to try using the hammer everywhere. It makes no sense.
Yeah. I like it. I like it. Tell everybody about your products.
So our product's very simple. Like I said, fundamentally, it is an insight into your customer before you even meet them. Like, before I spend, like, for example, I saw your profile. I know, John, what kind of words if I use, and you will say, I like this Amarpreet fellow. Okay. So, and otherwise we end up playing a hit and miss game, right? We've all been in meetings where we came out and said, hell yeah, that was a great meeting. And we've come out of a meeting and said, what the hell did this guy want, man? This made no sense. So there's a book called Surrounded by Idiots. I don't know if you're familiar with the book.
Oh, I
It's about
love that.
this.
By the way.
Yeah, it's called
Tell
Surrounded by Idiots. So we all we all communicate the way we think is the right way to communicate, right? Like, I don't talk a lot of bells and whistles. If I'm talking to someone, I'll be like, hey, John, this, that, boom, done, right? And that's where we end up feeling like, and we can all think of scenarios, and you're familiar with this, where we meet people and we literally say, this guy is an idiot, right? Because they are they don't think like you, they don't talk like you. So that's what we try to change. Before you've spent even a minute with someone, how they think. I am an aggressive sales guy. Like I said, we work with salespeople, right? And a lot of salespeople are aggressive. What if you're meeting a slow, risk averse business leader who likes to take time? How
Yeah.
smart is it to go in and just try rushing that person by creating artificial urgency and whatnot? It's not going to help you, right?
Yeah.
In that meeting, you go and say, "Hey, John, we have a product here that really works, but I know, you like to take time, you like to understand things, you don't like to just shoot from the hip. I want you to know, John, that I will work with you to help you gain that confidence. I'm not in a rush to make a sale." And you say, "I like this Amarpreet fellow, right? Because I am talking that buyer's language." So that's where it starts. And then we tie it into every step. Like if you're sending an email, of course, we can combine it with Chat GPT, and one click and your email gets rewritten in a language which is right for that person, with personalization that is right for that person, covering the needs of that company. And I mean, you can do a lot of things with it, but that's what we try to do. Every step of your interaction with your prospects, you will know what to say, what to do. If you're negotiating, it'll tell you, "Hey, this is John's negotiation style, so this is what you need to be doing to make this a successful negotiation." So
Yeah.
assist the sellers in their buyer interactions on every step is really what it is.
I love it. I love it. All right, let's do a quick speed round. You ready?
Let's go for it.
You mentioned a book, but is there another book that made a big impact on you?
One of my favorite books is a book. It's called come on. I'm blanking out. It's a small book. Um, it's about the samurai way of life. It's 100-year-old book from 1903 or something. I'm forgetting the name of the book. It'll come to me.
All right.
But it's a samurai. That's probably my favorite book. Yeah.
You'll have to send it to me once you remember it. Best piece of wisdom you've ever
Yeah.
received?
Just be honest. Just be yourself.
Finish this sentence. One thing everybody can do to get to know their buyer better is?
Use Humantic AI.
Yeah. All right, good. I love it. Amarpreet, I love this conversation. I love talking about AI and people and the science behind things, right? I think everything in business and in sales and in marketing, there's a combination between art and science. And if we can, I as a business coach, I work with a lot of my clients on this topic. What part is art? What part is science? And how are you looking at each piece of it? There's one of my favorite sayings is, if you don't bring data to the meeting, everyone just uses their own opinion. And so you can come with your opinion and you can come with your gut, but you also need some data to balance it out so people can connect to things. And so I loved everything that you shared, specifically, when you said, do you want to take a scientific or a non-scientific approach to business? And that makes so much sense. And I love when somebody can articulate things in few words. One of my favorite books is Smart Brevity. If you haven't read that, that's a must read. I would. It was my favorite book of 2024. I recommended it. I think hundreds of copies have been sold because of my recommendation of the book. It's phenomenal. So thank you for sharing all that. Think Community, if Amarpreet can help you, Amarpreet, tell them where they can connect with you, learn more about you and who your ideal clients are.
I think LinkedIn is the easiest place. Luckily, I'm the only Amarpreet Kalkat out there. You can also.
I'm the only Jon Dwoskin. Yeah.
Well, good for us. So good for us. I Twitter as well, but LinkedIn works great. Yes.
It's great. All right, good. And your website is humantic.ai. Think Community, if you want to talk about any coaching, please reach out to me at jondwoskin.com. Amarpreet, this was great. I appreciate your time and your insights. Thanks so much and all the best with everything.
Well, thank you for having me, John. I appreciate it.